Thank you everyone for the continued growth on my channel. I actually wanted to hop on here because I've been MIA for a minute. I wanted to expand a little bit more on that, but perhaps a little later. Um, I am focusing more or less on some personal things regarding myself in terms of career. Perhaps I'll share this more in depth. I'm not sure if I will share it to general public on YouTube or if I will share it solely on members. I did notice that a member did join, and I'm just like over here, I really don't know too much on YouTube. I'm still getting familiarized with YouTube. Those of you that have been following me for a while know that I don't have any other social media outlets. And for me, I really am someone that does believe that one should invest in themselves out in this world and try not to make or surround their life around social media, because there's so many things that you can be doing, right? So I'm trying to embody that more. I've realized, okay, I talk about a lot of topics that are very near and dear to my heart and based off personal experiences and things I've observed as well. Most of my friends have been women and men of color. And navigating this world, I've definitely seen the differences when it has compared to individuals that I also know that, right, are white adjacent. So I created this channel solely to empower Black and Brown communities and people so we can come together and be stronger together, and naturally propel one another, right? Encourage one another, lift one another up. And I feel like part of that is also going out there and investing in yourself in terms of like doing what you can to build yourself up mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever that may be, right? Holistically. And I want to dive into that a little bit more. I've been thinking about that as well. I'm just like, man, I want to also do what I mentioned on my description is like to empower, right? And empowering is, hey, how can we invest in our well-being, right? Not only what do we eat, how we navigate this world in terms of physical fitness and all of that good stuff, because that helps us to be more mentally and emotionally sound and also regulate ourselves. Because as you know, there's a lot of things that come our way as people of color in this world, all in all, right? We think, oh, only in the US. No, in this world, when we've traveled. I know I've limited actually my traveling because of that, because I feel like it's so strenuous, it's so tasking. And so as someone that is, I feel like I'm more introverted. I do like to socialize, but I am more introverted. I'm more to myself. I'm more of an observer. And I do find that it is very, once again, emotionally and mentally tasking when I go out there in this world. And strangely enough, I wanted to share something that just happened today. And as you know, I transitioned from being a New Yorker, right? I'm born and bred New Yorker in the city. And I have since been living in a suburban area. Suburban/rural, to me, it's almost like, I honestly feel like this is the countryside. I'm going to keep it real. There's a lot of woods. There's a lot of land here to an extent comparatively to a lot of suburban areas. And I was just out there, like I was outside of the house naturally. And there was this white man just passing by. This is what I don't like. And this is what I really and this is why it's like the white community never makes it better for themselves. They're like constantly like making it worse for themselves. Like instead of improving their image, they're constantly like making their image worse and worse. And we've seen that with here, in the US, and also on a global scale with what's happening in Palestine. I mentioned that, but also what's been happening on a global level. And often we forget that this is a direct result of colonization. This is the direct result of Western white powers that have impacted these places, have caused so much instability because they're benefiting from that, right? So we are starting to realize as people like, oh, wait a second, why is it the same character? Why is it the same person in this, I guess, in this situation? Why is it always the same? And people are waking up, and I appreciate, because I appreciate that as a woman of color, as a Latina, because it's like we need to wake up to make sure that we ensure that we keep these individuals accountable, right? We need to make sure that we keep these people to the same standard, if not a greater standard, because historically we can gauge off history that it's impacted us very much so. It's led to the death of our people. So why do we always give the white people a pass, right? And it's no more. I'm sorry, no more. So I wanted to, I also speak on that as well. And honestly, yeah, I was outside and I had my towel on because my hair is very wet. I'm not a fan of my hair being on me while it's dry and then soaking up my shirt. It's just, I love these things. I love this on my head, and I've always noticed this, that it's really just so troubling. I live, here in the US, and I live in a quote unquote progressive place. This is what has been sold to the world, right? Oh, these places are so progressive. And I spoke about in a previous video about how France was pointing fingers at and saying Lady Liberty is ashamed, when I'm well aware that France has, from what I understand, a hijab ban, but also has been extremely oppressive, from what I understand, or just like there's been a lot of racism. I remember viewing a video, and it was regarding France, and people were just like mocking it because the demographics has shifted, and it's just like, okay, I don't see a joke here, because first and foremost, these countries, these Western powers, have colonized other countries. So are you surprised that you're being colonized in a way, right? Like, excuse me, you cause instability. The Western white world has caused instability. First and foremost, let's speak about the US. You guys literally killed off the native indigenous people. Naturally, there are many natives still existing. That's great. We'll still be here. We'll still be here in terms of the Black and brown community. But it's like, this has historically happened time and time again, yet you're surprised when individuals from those places that you've caused instability, whether that be in the continent of Africa, whether that be in the Middle East, you're surprised when they come flee. So it's make sense. Perhaps you shouldn't be in those countries. Perhaps you shouldn't be meddling in their affairs. Perhaps don't cause instability in those countries. So then those people don't have to flee for their lives and come to different lands. In that case, Europe. Because if we're going to talk about the US, we're going to talk about Canada. These countries have been originally inhabited by indigenous people. Now that's a different situation. It's always crazy that we try to use the same narrative or same storyline. In Europe, hey, that's their content. But Europe needs to also be accountable for what they have done historically in other countries. So, my goodness. But people clearly don't go through history, don't learn their history, don't learn what has happened historically and learn from that, and then take that to grow and better themselves and improve as a society. And then we sit here and say we're progressive societies, progressive places, we have a progressive thought, we have the freedom of X, Y, and Z, but yet people are silenced. Yet people are told that they shouldn't be wearing certain attire or certain things. So that leads me to say this much, because this is exactly what I encountered. I was outside, and this white old man, progressive societies, yet they clearly have no idea of what exists beyond their little world, their little lives. He was just staring at me, and I'm just like, you know what? Moving forward, as a woman of color, I'm going to be staring back, and I'm not going to back down. So I've had this encounter happen multiple times. As of recently, there's some white young lady was just staring at me when I was sitting in a car. I'm just there existing, but she's just like, and I literally went like, I just waited for her. Yeah, hi. Like, I'm just gonna stare at you. I'm gonna stare at you. And then she proceeded to stop staring. Yeah, because I don't understand. I understand these progressive society, progressive people, yet at the same time they're doing just the same exact thing that they say other communities do. Oh, they oppress women, they do this, yet you don't even uplift women, and in this case, women of color, and I've spoken about this as well in my previous video regarding feminism and how it really doesn't benefit. It hasn't ever benefited us, right? It's been with the soul's purpose to uplift the white woman. And with that being said, I feel like a lot of this talk on progressive is really, it's just benefited and it's been for white people and white women and men alone. It has never been for the benefit of people of color. They've just used us to leverage your mission, their goal, and as a representation, they just put us in. I love how one of my colleagues once said, Black Caribbean individual, and he pointed out something really, really insightful. I was just like, I'm loving the representation that I'm seeing in terms of Black and brown communities out there, especially when it concerns media, entertainment, and all that. And he gave me something to oh, my accent's coming out. But just, yeah, he gave me I can't even say it, something to really he gave me something to really think about for a minute. And it was just like, he said, I find that they're just doing that because they want to silence us. They want us to be like, okay, we see it, we see some change, but it's like very minimal change. If it's very insignificant change, once again, it's breadcrumbing. And yes, I thought that was mind-blowing. It's just like, yes, and it's interesting, and I've spoken about this as well, that the white community simply always uses us for entertainment, for image, for things like that, like media, to appeal to. And this is something that they mentioned also in OJ Made in America documentary, where they sold, I don't know, what was it, Cadillac? I don't even remember. No, it was Hertz, I think it was. I don't even remember. It was one of those car companies, and they used his image to propel their company forward. And it was just like, yeah, we've never seen. And it's because they know that Black and brown individuals are investing money into these companies, or they want their money, right? And I remember also seeing this comment on LinkedIn. Oh my goodness, this white man, he literally said, I'm sorry, I have to keep it real. I just need it because it's important that I point these things out, because I see a lot of patterns in regards to this. This white man specifically said, he said, DEI is a good business initiative, as if we, as people of color, are simply important or relevant because we can give you money. We can provide you some money. We can provide you with some wealth, as if we haven't been providing wealth to the white community in terms of free labor, because you've abused and used it. And I also came across another video yesterday in regards to, my gosh, it's so exhausting dealing with this level of stupidity when it concerns like this progressive world. But clearly it's lagging, and it's been lagging academically on a global scale in terms of this country. So are we surprised with the level of ignorance and the okayness to all these things, right? We sometimes don't even realize a lot of times that these exist. And it's taken people very long to catch on to, oh my gosh, there's like so many detrimental things within the system that really at the end of the day don't do more, to be honest, do us as communities of color a disservice. So there was, and I'll leave it at this because it's really frustrating to see these things and this kind of talk, this kind of rhetoric. Once again, white man, women narrative, white man and women rhetoric. There was this person that commented on a young lady. She was a resident physician or some physician. Not sure if she was already in the field and sector. Either way, they were thanking DEI, I guess like awards, initiatives that exist because she was able to become a physician or move towards that sector due to the awards or the benefits that exist within DEI. And someone had the audacity, and it's sad because I always see, and they said, oh, you should have your license revoked. And because white and Asians, and I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if it's a white person hiding behind the East Asian community. East Asian community has had to work for what they've gotten. They didn't have ancestral benefits, let's just say. So I hate that the white community is always hiding, like, oh, they're gonna hide behind, just because many communities of color are democratic, they hide behind us. We're not racist. We're not racist. But it's just like, one comment is just like, are you sure? Are you sure? Because a lot of ignorance is very prevalent, and I find that they have to inform and check their communities before they're coming towards us and trying to hide behind us and trying to appear as if they're not racist or not ignorant, and they're trying to appear as they're for us. Check yourself and check your community first. Thank you. Okay, so so that person, I was just like, the audacity, because first and foremost, the white community was able to benefit, and I've said this multiple times, off Black and brown labor. They naturally oppressed and killed off indigenous communities in this country, and therefore then they were able to use the Black and brown community as a way to get free or cheap labor, and this allowed them to build their wealth. Wealth equals resources, equals opportunities, equals so many options. Yes. So you have had DEI for a minute, if anything. And I'm saying this in terms of like, you've had your own version of it, if anything, and you've benefited from it, and you continue to benefit from it, because clearly we have an administration that's all about white power. Let's be honest. They really are about make America white again. And your benefits are still going on. Yeah, you didn't have to work. Well, white community has not had to work historically as hard as any Black and brown individual or person to get to where they're even at. That's why there is so few individuals within many sectors, because the white community has essentially paved the way only for them and people that look like them alone. Like, that's common sense stuff, but yes, I understand. Not everyone rolls with common sense. Not everyone has it, and not everyone wants to admit their privilege, first and foremost, because it doesn't benefit, it doesn't work for you, right? You want to get your foot in the door and take that opportunity away from the Black and brown community. The Black and brown community has had to work. And first, and let's also be completely real. The people that have died historically, the Black and brown community that died historically off slavery, off the oppression of that, they never got paid for anything. They never got the recognition they rightfully deserved. But your community, the white community, has been able to get more than that for not doing even anything, for being lazy, essentially, for living and using these other communities in order to benefit, right? To get all the resources, to get all the benefits. So if anyone has used anything, it's your community, it's the white community. But yeah, we don't want to admit to that. We don't want to admit to the reality of the world of this life. And yeah, black and brown people have had to earn their positions, have had to work hard. They have to go above and beyond. I know this because I even experienced the military, and I saw that very thing existing. And no, I do not endorse the military, because that's another place of oppression. I did more or less, and I'll keep it real, I did not do Department of Defense. That's what I'll say. So I stayed within these areas, but even then I saw a drastic difference in treatment of the Black and brown community. It's interesting how they were often, if not all the time, targeted. And that in a way, you can see that happening given the fact that most, if not all, all the individuals in the military are often white, and therefore it gives them an opportunity to hide behind. I remember someone that I knew that was a white guy who's like, I'm pretty sure it had been MEPS or through our recruiter. He had told me when he had been there for a while at boot camp, he said, the company commander the other day was like, have you been here in this company? And then he was like, yeah. And then she's like, since when? And she was asking me, like, since when? And then he was like, since the beginning. He's like, I never seen you. This is the first time I see you. no duh, all the white people blend in together and the brown and black people stand out. And this is why they want to diversify. Part of it, obviously, they're using the black and brown communities hasn't had as many resources and opportunities. Naturally, a lot of coming from unfortunate circumstances. Let's keep it real, because of racism, because of historic racism. These systems are not for us. Let's keep it real. And they will benefit off that because, hey, who they're going to be targeting the most? Those that don't have the resources, the financial resources, the family backing them up in terms of putting them in school. Everyone knows how expensive university is. Everyone knows about that. You're doing medical sector, and unless you're getting a scholarship and getting it paid fully, which is difficult. I understand that there's certain medical schools that are doing that, which is great, but the majority, if not most, if not all, school is a business here. The school is a business. It's kind of crazy how I was also having a conversation with some of my friends that are from internationally, like they're born and bred in their place, like Morocco, for example, and they specifically told me, oh yeah, school is free here. I think it's contingent on like grades or something like that, where you get situated and whatnot, but it's just like countries that yeah, the West likes to talk ish about have free education. Figure that out. And I'm sure that there's a lot of countries in Europe that probably have that good old free education. But it's kind of crazy that here in the US, they don't got that, right? And they talk about progress. I'm still trying to figure out where that progress is at, because I'm trying to detect where it's at. I have yet to find it. Let me know if you find it. But yes, it's really, a lot of these systems are just not. And hence why, as people of color, we got to stay informed, stay informed, stay focused on also developing ourselves, improving ourselves. And that's something that, once again, like I mentioned in the beginning, I do want to start to dive into a little bit more. I do want to get back into working out more consistently. I don't really work out at this time, but I was big, so maybe I'll implement some of that in here on my channel. So, if anyone else is on that journey, they want to improve. I feel like working out definitely helps to release a lot of stress, or helps to also feel like you have something, like a goal and something that you can focus your attention and energy in. So I do find it has a lot of benefits all in all. Naturally, it's always recommended by physicians and science all in all. So naturally, I want to continue to uplift and uphold things that are rooted on facts. So let's make sure that we are staying informed, staying also focused on our mental, emotional well-being, which is, once again, something I'll try to integrate or implement on a more, like, I'm going to try to diversify, I guess, what I'm getting at. I know I'm kind of rambling. I tend to do that towards the end, where I'm just like, oh, okay, how do I end this? But it's just like, girl, just end it. So yeah, I just want to make sure that you guys know that I will, be on the alert if you see me implementing some workout videos, some cooking stuff. It's just because I do find that in terms of our communities improving and bettering ourselves, it's also ensuring that how we approach the world and ensure that we're productive, ensure that we are focused, right, on what matters, not only lifting ourselves up, because we have to start within ourselves, but also uplifting our communities in the process as we move forward and walk in excellence, right? And walk in our own power, knowing who we are, knowing what we are and what we stand for, and therefore, approaching the world as is. So yeah, I feel like it's important to not only, speak on these things, on these topics, but also make changes within ourselves that can help us improve ourselves. There's always room for growth. There's always room for improvement. That's something I believe in. I don't believe I'm perfect. I don't believe I have it all. I know it all, but I am teachable and willing and open to always learning and growing, and ensuring that in the process I'm uplifting the Black and brown community. So there you go, guys. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.